Hey everybody, this is Eric Worre and welcome to NetworkMarketingPro.com. I'm here with my friend Brian Carruthers. Brian, thanks for being here.
Sure thing, good to see you.
And great to see you, my friend. And we're here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and that's actually the Department of the Treasury behind us, which is appropriate. We're here to talk about money, we're here to talk about success, we're here to talk about the network marketing profession. And I've known Brian for how long?
15 years.
15 years. Brian and I go back. And I'm really proud of him, and I don't want that to sound patronizing in any way, you know, being proud of you, but I am. I'm proud of you because Brian is one of the people I talk about when we talk about the 90-day game plan. There was a major transition, actually. I had a company that I sold to another company and, you know, kind of had to make this sale. And Brian was with the company that I had, a company called TPN, the People's Network. And in 1998, we had to sell that company, and there's a bunch of people really freaked out over the transition.
Right.
And I'll never forget, Brian saw this as an opportunity to just really go to work, really put his head down, really create freedom and wealth for himself. And when he was with my company, what was the most you ever made?
A couple grand a month.
A couple thousand a month was the most he ever made. And he just said, you know, Eric, I remember during the transition, remember the phone calls?
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the transition, in the middle of the night, we're talking about what's happening, what's going on, the people you're putting together. And Brian ignored the distractions, which he's very good at, because there's a lot of distractions over the course of 15 years, right?
Sure.
He ignored the distractions and he hit it hard. And that 90 days, that first 90 days, how hard did you work?
I probably worked it as hard as I've ever been in my network marketing career.
Yeah, you were 20, you know, it's close to 24 hours a day as you could be during that period of time. And since then, Brian has made approximately $15 million or more.
Right.
You've been at $1 million a year or better for the last, what, 7 years?
7 or 8 years, yeah.
7, 8 years, he's been at $1 million a year or better. How much of your success would you point to that first 90 days?
It really all came down to, I think, all the seeds that I planted. We always talk about you plant your seeds and you cultivate and you get your harvest. I planted very, very fast. I probably squeezed 10 seasons of planting into my first 3 months. And you know, the cultivation process, what we cranked through it real fast. And the harvest, I mean, my first month, I remember you called me up in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, you said, Brian, get out a pen and write this number down. 11405. I said, what is that? And you said, that's your monthly income for your first month in this business. And so for me, it was, you know, making 11 grand my first
11,000, wow.
I've been in network marketing for 4.5 years prior to this, and I never made that much in a year, and that was my first month. So my first month, I came out of the blocks real strong. You know, I was doing PBRs every night, business
PBRs, home meetings. You know, that's their private business receptions, what they call it. Right. But it's just an in-home meeting.
Yep.
So he was doing that every night.
Then in-homes, doing the weekly business briefings at the hotels once, twice, 3 times a week. I was doing conference calls like crazy, and like you say, you know, it was a 90-day run, and at 90 days, yeah, I did continue my efforts beyond the 90 days, but the seeds I planted, the team I built, the momentum I created during that time period propelled me for the last, this is my 15th anniversary this month.
Right.
And for the last 15 years, I've been reaping the benefits from that first 90-day run. And of course, I've strung together back-to-back 90-day runs since then, but it was that first one.
I counted in my career, I think I've done about 5 real, totally focused 90-day pushes in my career. How many do you think you've done in your 15 years?
Well, for me, I don't know that I can say that I had regimented 90-day runs that were completely defined and outlined. You know,
I understand.
My whole team to do
I get it.
So I had
a
few of them, but for me, I was on a personal 90-day run, even though I wasn't organizing my team around it like we sometimes do.
Yeah.
But my business was personal, 90 days.
Yep.
Take a one-night break, or maybe a weekend break, and I got right back into it again. And so I just kind of strung a bunch of them together.
And I'll tell you something about Brian. This might intimidate you. This might freak you out, okay? But Brian is a personal recruiting machine. He is a machine with friends and family, with people that he meets in day-to-day life. You've used whatever source you could possibly find over 15 years to find people to talk to.
Right.
but he is a machine at invitations, presentation, follow up, close, get them started. Guess how many people he's recruited? How many people approximately have you personally enrolled
Probably,
in your 15 years?
1,200, something like that.
1,200. So something in the neighborhood of 100 a year on average.
Right.
Dude, which works out, when you do the math, it doesn't seem like that much because it's 2 a week.
Right.
But there's not a lot of people out there that would have the discipline. Because some people think, well, I've talked to everybody.
Right.
I've got nobody else to talk to. What were some of the strategies that you figured out in order to just stay active, stay in the game, and continue to have people to talk to?
It's very interesting because for me, my whole focus was recruit like a maniac. And I know sometimes people frown on the idea of throwing them against the wall and see who sticks, but that's been my philosophy. My goal is to bring everybody on board, let them figure out if they're going to work the business or not. So my philosophy is expose everybody, fortunes in the follow-up, and work with the willing. So I expose everybody.
Hold on. 3 steps. Expose everybody.
Right.
The fortune is in the follow-up, and work with the willing.
Right.
So follow-up, get them involved.
Well, so
and then find out who's willing.
Right.
So who says, hey, me,
right.
I want to be next.
Right. So, for me, it was all about exposure every day. When I went full-time, unfortunately, a lot of people in network marketing, they say they're full-time, but they just really don't have a job anymore. They're not really working their business here as hard as they worked a job for somebody else. If they worked a job 8 to 10 hours a day for somebody else, I met very few network marketers who are actually doing 8 to 10 hours of activity, which is income-producing activity, talking to prospects a day. And for me, that's what I did. I was working.
And you know why?
A day.
You know why? Because network marketing is so forgiving.
Sure.
You can keep getting paid from a burst that you did 3 years ago.
Right.
Most network marketing, even the 6-figure earners, they did one 90-day burst and they've been riding it ever since.
Right.
They're kind of going through the motions. They show up, they do the events, all that stuff. But, they're making 6 figures, they're not making 7 figures. The difference between the 7-figure earners and the 6-figure earners are continued consistency and hard work. Now, I will tell you, Brian works hard, but I don't think he would say, I'm exhausted from working hard, because you enjoy what you do.
Right.
For me, I work hard, but I'm not exhausted either, because I love what I do every day. So there's a difference, if you're kind of living your purpose, it's not, awful. You're not like in the coal mine,
Sure.
Shoveling coal.
It's kind of like, the difference between somebody who's making $5,000 versus $20,000 or $20,000 versus $100,000 a month. It's, get off the elevator. They stopped doing what got them to 5. If they kept on doing it, it would have taken them to 20. If they got to 20, they keep on doing that, they can take them to 100. But unfortunately, a lot of times people, like you said, they get in this comfort zone and they do a burst, they get their team going, and then they kind of, stop again. They stop doing the same activity, and they go in from activity mode into management mode. And when you start managing your team, unfortunately, your team starts to do what you do, and they start managing their teams, and you go up, and then you start plateau, and sometimes you lose your ground because you fell into that management mode.
Well, talk about how does a person go from 0 to 5,000 a month? I mean, what would be the basic steps that somebody needs to do in order to make that happen?
Well, the bottom line is you got to get excited, make a list, have a private business reception in your house if you like to do the in-person events like that. Do a private conference call, which is get all your contacts on the phone with your upline for a short presentation to expose them all the third-party way, the proper way, I believe, and then start, plugging into, some people use weekly business briefing systems, which is what I totally believe in. I'll never get away from that, and plug people into training. So that's kind of my system. I get excited, make a list, in-home meeting, private conference call, weekly briefings, and funnel everybody into the training system. And so from somebody starting off at 0, people look at my story, and I kind of have people on my team that kind of try to figure out how they can model it, because what I did was I made 200 phone calls my first 3 days. Everybody I knew got a phone call. And so obviously if I had 3 days to make 200 phone calls, I wasn't saying much.
Right.
And I've had a lot of mentors, you and others that said, hey, look, say less to more people. Right. Ignorance on fire is more powerful than knowledge on ice. light yourself on fire. People come from miles around to watch you burn. So I didn't know anything really about what my current business, but I knew I was excited about it, and I knew I was not supposed to say much to other people. So use third-party tools and third-party events, and that's all I did. So, if you're brand new and you're in your business, you just start going after your list hardcore. It's success compression. Some people will take 3 months to call 200 people. I did it 3 days. Some people take 3 years to call 200 people. I did it in 3 days. Some people never call 200 people. I did it in 3 days. So when people want to measure themselves against other success stories, you got to measure not result against result, but look activity against activity. If they're willing to work as hard as me, then they deserve a 7-figure income. So. And
when you made those 200 calls, how many of those took a look at your business approximately?
Probably maybe 30 or 40, and out of those initial people, 16 that came on board. And I was on them. I mean, it's very important. A lot of people don't realize that you don't sign somebody up on a Monday and get back to them on Friday about getting them started the next week. If I sign them up on Monday, I'm on a Monday, and I was getting their list together, and I was getting in their living room on Tuesday or Wednesday. Their first 3 days, 5 days max is critical. If they don't have success, like you talk
some
about,
results.
If they don't have some wins under their belt, they're gone. And so for me, it was sign them up, and I'm on them. And if they fall off the wall and they join the witness protection program, that's on them. It's not my fault. So my goal is to help everybody get started and put a check in their pocket, $500 to $1,000 in the first couple weeks.
So tell me what the difference is between the $1 million earners, and many of them, even inside your company, and the people who don't make $1 million, the people who make less than that. What makes you special? What makes a $1 million earner special?
Well, first of all, if you can make $100,000 a year, you can make $1 million a year. So obviously the key
What about the difference between that or somebody making $5,000 or somebody who can't make any money? Well, I mean, what's the difference?
Well, I mean, look, if you have the formula, you have the formula. So the formula is going to take you to 5. It's going to take you to $8,000 a month to make $100,000 a year. So if you're making a 6-figure annual income in this business, you know how to recruit, you know how to sell, you know how to do the basics. So now it's continuing to do the basics, which is what I call working in your business, at the same time working on your business, which means you're working on yourself, but you're also duplicating yourself. So instead of me bringing you on board and helping you, go out there and build a team, and me doing a lot of the work, I could be working in my business through you, which is great. I can make a 6-figure income doing that. But my goal is to create another 6-figure earner. So 7-figure earners created a bunch of 6-figure earners. And I'm planning on taking my business to $1 million a month. So for me to do that, I need to have a bunch of 7-figure annual earners, so I make my $1 million a month earnings.
What's that going to be like? $1 million a month?
It's not going to change my lifestyle. I mean, you and I both know that when you start making
once you get to a certain point, it's about legacy, right?
Yeah, it's Paul J. Meyer, as a lot of people know, he didn't need the money that he earned in his lifetime. He gave over $400 million to charity, and so for me, it's about having significance. I invest 90% of what I earn now, and I give away more than I used to make in a year in my real estate career. So for me, it's not, two things. Number one, I want to give a lot away, but secondly, the money we make in network marketing, as you know, is a measuring stick for the amount of lives that we've impacted. So for me, the more money I make, it's just almost like and I'll be honest with you, most people don't say this, they're not honest and just put it out there. It's an ego thing. For me, everybody's ego driven. Everybody wants to be loved and respected by people, and that feeds your ego. And so for me, if I can go from a couple $1 million a year to $1 million a month, that number one feeds the ego, because people have respect for the better you're doing, but it also gives me the opportunity to use that money as resources to go out and give back to a lot of other people.
I love it. So this video is going to be watched by a lot of people. What advice? These people want this bad. Sometimes they're bound up by fear. Sometimes they just can't motivate themselves. They can't make themselves do something. They don't know why. They're frustrated. They're wondering if this is for them. Sometimes a $1 million earner might seem so far away to even imagine, because they can't recruit one person. They're just stuck. And we've all been in that place where the self-doubt creeps in. What advice would you have for those people?
I would say, number one, know that it's possible. I didn't know that nobody had to tell me it was going to be easy. You never said it was going to be easy. I just need to know possible. So as long as it's possible, and if $1 million income is important to you, great. Get that in your head, understand it, wrap your brain around it, and throw it out. Because unfortunately, I think network marketers don't have their expectations set properly. So if they're thinking $1 million a year, but they haven't even made the first 10,000 yet. They keep on measuring their success on the front end against this huge goal. That's a long-term goal.
Yep.
So having a long-term goal is great, but having very short-sighted, easy
daily,
to accomplish,
weekly,
daily, weekly, monthly. So
Yep.
I tell people, hey, look, in the next week, let's help you make $500.
Yeah.
Once I've helped you make 500, hey, let's go out and take it to 1,000.
Right.
Once you made 1,000, we can go to 2 or 4. And so, unfortunately, people, they look at this industry and it almost becomes this lottery mentality because they hear us talking about these big numbers.
Yep.
And yes, I like the idea of the big numbers at the beginning, but
Yep.
my goal was to make my first $10,000 a month because I've never made that before in this business. I made it in real estate, but not here.
Yeah.
So I just think people just need to scale it back and set their expectations, because if they have an expectation that's too high and they miss it,
Yep.
another one that's
get
too high and miss it,
discouraged.
they get discouraged over and over and over again, and
Yep.
they leave the business.
Right. I want to talk about a tool that you put together. Brian put together like a booklet. It's a tool that he's used to help open people's minds to network marketing, their ideas about money. Is money bad? Is money good?
Right.
Those types of things. Here's the book. It's called Making My First 10 Million. It's a simple little booklet. I think you offer it to your group for like 99 cents or something,
Yep.
$1 a piece. I think it's a great little tool. Tell me how you're using this and what it's doing for people in your business to kind of open up prospects' minds.
Sure. Well, let me tell you how it came to be. I think it'll resonate with everybody. I was talking to a prospect one night, just calling leads. And I'm talking to a guy 52 years old. Tells me he's got a wife and 2 kids, never sees his wife, never sees his kids. He's working 2 jobs, he's broke, living check to check, and just miserable. So I say, all right, let's get you started. He goes, I'm going to pass. I said, you just told, so we hung up the phone call, and I talk to people like this every day, but this particular one, I said, I want to help this guy. So instead of leaving it alone, I started typing out an email to him. I just want to get into his head and help explain to him so he can have something he can read later on. And it just went on and on, and it turned into this book. This email turned into a book. I put a little bit more flesh on it, and basically, people have been repelling money their whole life.
Right.
So if you're taught that money is the root of all evil, or
Yep.
rich people are bad, you hear this kind of stuff from your parents, grandparents, your pastor, what have you, then people don't realize that they have this adverse relationship with money. And if just like if you ingest poison, your body knows to throw it up, otherwise it can kill you.
Yep.
Well, if money is seen in your subconscious mind as something that's not good, evil, then you're going to repel it, even though you're trying to make it. The money you make, you spend. They can't attract or accumulate wealth.
Right.
So that's the first part about I was trying to explain to them in the book, and then the second part is that people are being leveraged at a job, or even if they own their own business, it usually owns them. So leveraged income is where people need to find themselves, where they're going to get freedom. And so the most important thing about what the book does is it gives people a tool that can explain that, where you don't have your friends know you for you. Every networker out there, your friends know you for you, so you can't have those kind of conversations about attraction versus repelling money and leveraged income and all that, because they're looking at you as whatever you are. So the book is able to do that, but more importantly, have you ever gotten a stiff arm in your network marketing career?
Sure.
Where somebody said, hey, look, is that one of those pyramid schemes? Or
bam,
yeah. So you just you're talking to a completely closed door. So I talk about in the book how I was actually approached about network marketing years and years and years ago when I first was introduced. And I said, isn't that illegal? Aren't those pyramid schemes? And the guy said, what do you mean? I said, well, you're just making money off the backs of other people. That's not ethical. He goes, didn't you say that you have a family real estate company? I said, yes. He said, so don't you and your family earn money off the backs of real estate agents that are selling houses for you? I said, yeah. He goes, well, then sounds like your real estate company is an illegal pyramid scheme that should be shut down. And you know me, I'm a talkative guy. I sat there I didn't know what to say about
No
that.
answer.
And so it was like, boom, my paradigm shifted, and I said, you know what? Let me look at this. And I found that the network marketing model is way better than even what I considered a great model, which was leveraged income with a real estate brokerage.
Sure.
So all that's in the book. So if I'm talking to you about my opportunity, most network marketers, they go to their prospect and they say, hey, let me show you this opportunity. Well, their opportunity window is not even open. Because they already think, oh, is that a pyramid or whatever the case is. Or they've been approached 1,000 times by other things. But instead you say, hey, look, I just read this book about money. It's the most unbelievable thing. It really helps to open up your mind about how to attract money versus repelling it. I just want you to read this book. It'll take about 15 minutes, a little short little read. And now once you read the book and it explains to you why you need to have leveraged income.
How many pages?
32 little pages, 15 minutes.
32 pages, simple, and short pages. So it's like a little It's a prospecting tool almost.
It's a key. It opens
Right?
the door of receptivity, so your prospect,
Sure.
when they read a book, now they say, man, I need leveraged income. I've been repelling it. And in the back of the book, it says right here, contact the person who gave you this booklet. They may know the right vehicle to put you on the road for leveraged income. And then you put your call to action sticker in the back. So your goal is to get this book out there, open up their door, and then you walk in with your opportunity pitch.
What's happened since you came out with it?
Well, I went number 6 on Amazon in 3 days and sold 70-some thousand copies in 4 months, and we've got 20-some different network marketing company distributors that are using it. So it's widely accepted. Great. But more importantly, recruiting is up.
Right.
I got people reordering them by the 500 or by the 1,000 because their team's recruiting numbers are going up.
You can get it for $1, right?
So think about this. If you talk to 100 prospects to immediately pitch them on your opportunity, you're going to get about 80 stiff arms, and 20 of them might be open to look at your opportunity. But if you get 100 people to read the book, then you're probably going to have more like 60, 70, 80 people that are saying, hey, this is interesting, tell me more. So it's just going to be more open windows for people to walk in.
How can people get it?
MakingMyFirst10Million.com.
MakingMyFirst10Million.com. We'll put the link below the show. MakingMyFirst10Million.com. You can get it, check it out, read it. If you think it's going to be a good tool, use it. Brian, I know, has got good results with it. And I know you got a lot of people that got good results from it. So I'm happy about that.
One more thing about
Hold on. Before you do, go ahead, do it.
Well, here's the thing. Most network marketing tools, whether it be a DVD, a brochure, whatever, they're one and done. If I'm going to pitch you on my opportunity and I give you my company DVD, the most I can hope you to do is for you to check it out and decide whether you're interested or not.
Yep.
If I said, Eric, I'm going to give you my company DVD, I want you to check it out, I want you to pass it on to your friend. It ain't going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Yep.
A viral message means that the consumer is not being compensated to go spread the message for you.
Yep.
If there's compensation involved, it's not viral.
Right.
So my thought is that this is the first chance to have a real viral tool, because if I say, hey, look, this really incredible generic book about money, I want you to read it and pass it on to somebody that you care about so they can open up their financial, wealth building, ideas to help them in their life.
Yep.
You can read it, pay it forward after reading this book. Please do your part in passing it on to the next person. You can impact and change many lives. Keep the ripple of this book going. So if I give you this book and you pass it on to somebody else, and that this book is not a one and done, hopefully multiple people will actually pick it up and read it.
Perfect. All right, get your hands on it. I think you're going to be happy that you did, and I think it'll be a good tool for you. All right, so Brian, you've given us some great insights. You talked about a great tool that's been working for your business. Thanks for giving back and taking the time to do that, and not just doing it with your prospect, but passing it on to other people. Give everybody kind of a last thought. Look them in the eye and let them know whatever you want to give them. A piece of advice, a piece of encouragement. Whatever you want to give them.
Sure. Well, I guess two quick things. Number one, focus on getting more exposures in the marketplace. I heard 15 years ago, whoever gets the most tools in the marketplace will make the most money. So for me, I was getting as many tools as I can get in the marketplace, teaching my team to do the same thing. As a leader, most of your team won't order the tools. You got to order them, and you got to get them into their hands and use them as a conduit to get to that market share. But the second thing is, I've quit this business hundreds of times. Along the way, I was making $20,000 a month. I was quitting at $40,000 a month. I was quitting at $100,000 a month. You're never going to get done with the discouragement and the disappointment and somebody on your team quitting or this person just falling out off the face of the earth and disappearing. All that kind of stuff's going to happen. And so I'm talking to somebody who's brand new in the industry. I'm talking to somebody who might be making $5,000 a month. I'm talking to people that might be a fellow 7-figure earner. This is way bigger than us. I've got a 7-year-old son at home, Talon, who people say I'm doing this for my kids, and I believe part of that's true for all of us. I'm doing it kind of for my kid, but it's also for me and for my other big why purposes. But we have to always remember, especially because I believe everybody that's watching this right now can achieve a 6 or 7-figure income. So when that is achieved, then what matters to you?
Yeah. Because
I see so many people, they get off the elevator, they stop leading by example. And for me, my son never saw me. He was too young to see me when I was on my run to go make the 7-figure mark. So for me, people say, why don't you retire? Well, number one, I got massive goals still out in front of me. I've got a lot more significance to go out there and achieve. But also my son, who's 7, I want to teach him discipline, work ethic, integrity, and entrepreneurship. And so if I stop building now when he hasn't even gotten a chance in his formative years to even know what's going on, I will have missed the whole reason why I say I was doing this in the first place. So I just think, we all have kids, we all have grandkids, we all have people on our team that are counting on us. So I just think we all need to really take the network marketing profession very seriously, have a lot of fun with it, but remember, if you do it without integrity, or you do it without the kind of sharp focus that's required to win, everything we do bleeds down into our organization, into our families, good or bad. So I just think we just all need to be the best example we possibly can be.
Brian, you're a great ambassador for the profession. I'm really proud of you. I know this is just the beginning. You've had ups, you've had downs, you've gone through lots of different things, but I'm proud of what you're doing, and I'm excited for what you're going to do. And thank you for giving back to the community. I really appreciate it. I know you all appreciate it. If you do, comment below. Send Brian some love. Go check out makingmyfirst10million.com. Get your hands on that book. And ladies and gentlemen, our wish for you is that you decide to become network marketing professionals. You decide to go pro, because it is a stone cold fact that we have a better way. Now let's go tell the world. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.